is the first video of the C++ with DSA playlist. In this video lecture, we are starting from the scratch. We are going to discuss about the flowcharts and its components by taking 3 to 4 examples. So let's begin the lecture. In this lecture, we are going to study the flowchart and its components. So let us discuss some of its components. The first component we are going to study is this elliptical shape. This is ellipse. We use this shape for starting or ending the flowchart. The next shape is this parallelogram. We use this parallelogram for taking any input from the user or showing any output to the user. Output. And the next component is this rectangle, which is used for processing. So this is our process block. The next component is this rhombus. We use this rhombus for writing the conditional statements. So we use this for writing the conditionals. And the next component is we use these arrow symbols to connect the components with each other. So for connecting, we use these arrow symbols. Now let us take these components into an example. So let us understand it by using an example. Our first example is we are going to add two numbers. So we are going to sum of two numbers. In this, firstly we need to start our flowchart. So for starting, we use this ellipse shape. So we have used this ellipse shape and we have started the flowchart. The next step is we need to take input from the user. We need to take two inputs from the user in which we need to perform the addition operation. So for taking input, we use this parallelogram. So we are reading two numbers A and B from the user. After reading, when the user has inputted these values, then we need to process these. What process we need to do? We need to add these two numbers. So for processing these, we use the process block. So rectangle is our process block. In this, we are making one variable by the name sum, and we are storing a plus b in it. So we have stored a plus b value in the variable named sum. Now we need to print this sum. So what is the sum of a plus b? So for printing, again we use the parallelogram and we print sum. So here we have printed the sum, and in the next step, what it will do? It will end the flowchart. So for ending, again we use the elliptical shape. So this is our flowchart for addition of two numbers. Now let us move towards the another example. Our next example is, suppose we need to take average of three numbers. So for taking the average of three numbers. For taking the average of three numbers, what we need to do is, firstly we need to start our flowchart. So for starting, again we have used this elliptical shape. So we have started our flowchart. In the next step, we need to take input from the user. We need to take three inputs from the user. So for taking the input, we use this parallelogram. Now we are reading the values as A, B and C. So these are the three inputs we have taken from the user. In the next step, we need to process these variables. So what process we have to do? We have to calculate their average. We need to calculate their average. So for calculating their average, we will again use this process block. And in this process block, we will make one variable by name average, and we are going to store a plus b plus c divided by 3 in it. So this is the formula for calculating our average. Now after calculating our average, we need to print this average value. So for printing this average value, we will again use this parallelogram and we will print average. After printing the average, what we need to do is we need to end this loop. So for ending this loop, we will again use this elliptical shape. So this is our flow chart for calculating the average of three numbers. Now moving towards the another example, print even numbers. We need to print even numbers. For this, we need to take one input from the user. That input will be the range up to which the user wants to print the even values. So for that, we need to again start our flowchart. For starting our flowchart, we will use this elliptical shape. We have started our flowchart. In the next step, we need to take the input from the user. That input is the range up to which the user wants to print the even values. So for taking the input from the user, we will use this parallelogram. Uh, so we have read the num value from the user. Now we need to initialize our one value, one variable. So for initializing, we will use this process block. Here we have initialized n is equals to 0. So we have, why we have initialized n is equals to 0? Because our least even number is 0. So even positive number is 0. So for now, we need to check the condition. So what condition we need to check? That is this n value. Is this n value is less than num? Is less than the number which is entered by the user. So for checking the condition, we use this rhombus. For checking the condition, we use this rhombus. So here we will check that is n is less than or equal to num. What this conditional component will give us as an output? It will give no, either no or yes. So if it is giving me no, then what I will do, I will end this flowchart. I'll end this flowchart. If it will give me yes, then I will check another condition, that what is the condition of this even number? If the number is divisible by 2, then it is considered as an even number. So I will check the condition, that is n modulus 2 is giving me 0 or not. If it is giving me yes, or it will give me no. So if it will give me no, then I will take this block to the end. And if it will give me yes, then what I will do, I will print this n value. I will print this n. Right? After printing n, what I will do, I need to update this n value. So for that, we need to make one process block. We have created one process block, and here we have updated this n value by n is equals to n plus 1. Now after updating the n value, again we need to check that is the n value is less than the num which is the input given by the user, and if it is yes, then again it will check that is the n value is the n modulus 2 is giving us 0. This modulus operator we use for providing the remainder. So for giving the remainder, we have used n modulus 2 is equals to 0. If it is giving me yes, then again I will print that n value. Then again I will update that n plus that n value. So this process will continue until the n value is greater than the range which is provided by the user. So if it will if this conditional statement becomes false, then it will return no, and it will at the end it will go to end component. So this is our flowchart of even numbers, for printing the even numbers. So now I will request you all to make one flowchart of printing the odd numbers. This will be your homework for this video. So in the next video, we are going to learn about the pseudocodes. and what do you mean by these pseudo codes. So yes, meet you in the next video. Till then, bye bye. Thank you.